Hi, I'm Miss Sallie from Miss Sallie's Cuisine, and I'm here doing a 5-ingredient simple recipes, easy to make at home for the City of Melton Learning Directory. And today I'm going to make an easy ramen soup. So it's great for weeknights and when you can't be bothered making something, and it's easy to throw a few veggies and some noodles and some soup into a bowl, and you've got a delicious, hearty, fast food kind of soup. Today I'm going to start off with boiling my water in a saucepan for my eggs. I'm just going to let that come to the boil, and then I'll put the eggs in. So I've just got, this is for 2 people. So I've got 2 eggs, I've got a packet of noodles. I've got egg noodles, wholemeal ones, but you could equally use Singapore noodles, you could use 3-minute noodles, and in fact I normally do use 3-minute noodles, but I couldn't get any this week, so I went with the fresh noodles, which are still pretty good. And normally the reason why I use 3-minute noodles is it comes with a chicken sachet, and so I use that sachet of flavour ingredients with a chicken stock cube. You could make this with vegetable stock cube and a vegetable flavoured noodle if you're vegetarian. Equally, I've also got in the recipe I've got a pak choy, so we're just going to use one of those and use half for each bowl, and then I've got some spring onions which we're going to use as a garnish. I've also got some extras here. In the ingredients you'll see a list of optional extras which you can add to your bowl or use instead. Today I haven't got any meat to go in with the soup, but normally I would use just some fish, and I would just quickly throw it in the pan after I've cooked the bok choy or pak choy. You can use either bok choy or pak choy, it's either way. I've also got some toasted sesame seeds which I usually have on hand, and I just buy normal sesame seeds in a packet and toast those at home and then just keep them in a jar. And because I've got some beans for another one of the recipes, I'm going to just cook some beans up today. So I'm just going to chop off the ends of the beans, so just line them up and just cut off the ends, and then do the same for the other end. And I'm just going to, because we've got beans that are different sizes, I'm just going to cut these roughly to about the same size. And that's the beans ready, and I'm actually going to put those in with our chicken stock when we're cooking our chicken stock, and they'll take about 5 to 7 minutes to cook. Okay, so the bok choy or the pak choy, you just cut it in half roughly, and then you end up with 2 halves. What I normally do is, because these are quite long, I just cut off the end bits, and I just keep those, because sometimes the pan I use is not big enough, although the pan today I've got is big enough to put the pak choy in there, and then I just put those in the bowl with the soup. So I'm just going to do the other one. And then the spring onions, I'm just going to take off the first outer leaf. Now the recipe says 4 spring onions, but I'm only using 3 because one of the spring onions is quite large. So normally when I find if I've got different sizes, I just use one less, or if I need to add some more, then that's fine. With the spring onion, if it's really big, I just cut it down the centre, and then I will just put that there for a minute. And then I just cut off the ends. Sometimes you'll find that the ends of the spring onions have the roots of the onion, and sometimes they won't. But I normally just cut off the ends so I've got a nice fresh onion. And then you can cut them on the straight like this, but if they're going to be used for a garnish, I prefer to actually cut them on a diagonal because they just look pretty. And I'm just going to use probably another couple of centimetres. And you want them fairly fine. I'm just going to put the water on. This saucepan, which is separate to my egg saucepan, I've put 2 cups of cold water in. And I'm just going to put my sachet of noodle flavour. So this is chicken flavour. So I've always got sachets hanging around the house that I can use. And then just a chicken stock cube. If you want to use chicken stock already in a pack, you can do that. But if you've got stock cubes, that's fine. And we're just going to bring that to the boil. And once it's come to the boil, we're going to put our beans in. We don't need our spring onions at the moment. Now my water for my eggs has come to the boil, so I'm actually just going to turn this down a little. So probably about halfway from high to low. And I'm just going to let it boil for another minute or so. And then I'm going to lower my eggs into my water. So we just want a nice slow boil, not a really fast boil. And then just lower your eggs into the saucepan. And I'm just going to cook those for 4 minutes. So they've been in the pan for a little minute. So I'm just going to put the timer on for 3 minutes. You can have them soft boiled or a little more hard boiled, just do them to your preference. And my stock has actually started to boil, so I'm going to put my beans in and just cook those up for a few minutes. So I'm just going to turn my pan on to cook my pak choi. And I'm just going to use a little bit of spray oil in here, not too much. And you could use vegetable oil, peanut oil. I usually don't fry with olive oil because it doesn't have a good burning point, which means that it tends to get too hot too quickly. And so I just use canola or this is olive oil spray. It's just what I had on hand in the cupboard. And my eggs have now boiled. So I'm just going to rinse the hot water out, and I'm just going to cover these in cold water. My stock with my beans in it have been cooking for about 5 minutes now. And I'm just going to put the noodles in just so that they heat through. Pak choi is sizzling away here. And you just want to char it on the bottom side so it's sort of like nice and golden and caramelised. And at this point, if you were using some meat in this soup, or if you were using fish, you could put your fish in and just lightly cook it to your taste. So I like salmon, but I like it nice and soft and uncooked in the centre, so I would cook it for a lot less. We're just trying to get those noodles loosened up. Because they're fresh, they don't take as long. You really just need to break them up. They don't really need to be cooked, whereas your noodles that are like your 3-minute noodles, they need to be cooked so that they're like al dente. And I'm just going to put the top part of the pak choi into the pan just to give it a light cook. And I'm going to take my 2 bowls. And I'm just going to divvy up the noodles into the bottom. And I'm going to put some beans in each bowl. So there's the beans. And then we're just going to put our liquid stock into our noodles. You'll probably find some more noodles, so just split those in half. If you want more stock, you can actually make more stock, but you'll just need to put in an extra stock cube. And of course, if you want to use a whole pack of noodles for each recipe, you can do that rather than using half a pack each. But that's just my preference. So I'm just going to put the top leaves of the pak choi into the bowl. They get a bit sticky, so you could use spinach instead of this if you wanted to. You don't need to use the pak choi or bok choy. Just pop those into the bowl. Now the easiest way I find to crack the eggs, unless they're soft boiled, is just to crack them and then just roll them gently on the board on your work surface and then just peel. Cut it in half and pop those, there's another bowl, just pop those in their space. And then we're just going to use a few of the spring onions. I've just put some spring onions on the top of the soup, and I'm just going to sprinkle a few sesame seeds over here just for extra flavour. And I normally have Nigella seeds, which are the black seeds, in this mix. I don't know if you can see them. And then I just put a few in when I'm nearly finished toasting my sesame seeds. So you just want them in the fry pan on a low heat when you're toasting a packet of sesame seeds. And you just want to cook them until they're nice golden colour. Normally they'll start popping and you'll end up with sesame seeds all over the place. So that's when you turn off your sesame seeds and stop cooking them. Okay, so this is our finished soup. So we've just sprinkled the sesame seeds on, and that's as simple as it needs to be. And you can serve that up to family, and I'm sure they'll eat it down with gusto. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Be sure to follow the Melton City Council Learning Directory Facebook page to ensure you don't miss the next one.